So being a teacher is incredibly overwhelming, and especially if you're running your own business, you're not only still having to handle the reports and things like that you would normally do because you're still giving those to parents. You may not be giving them to admin anymore, but you're giving them to parents. But you're also trying to run a business. So a virtual assistant can help you run your business side of things so that you can focus on your students or focus on getting more students.
Hello, I am here with Sammy Bohannan of Bohannan Virtual Solutions, and I'm so glad you're here, Sammy. Thank you so much for joining us. And so we're going to do a quick run through of virtual assistants, what they are, who they are, and what they can do for your teaching business. So, Sammy, hello, and would you mind introducing yourself a little bit?
Sure. I'm Sammy Bohannan. I was a K-12 English as a second language teacher for a while. So I taught ESL for 6 years in the classroom, and pretty much every grade level, but mostly middle school. And then when I left teaching, I started teaching online. So I worked for a little bit with some Chinese English teaching companies, and I'm just not a morning person, so that didn't really work out for me. And then I started working for Proximity Learning, teaching ESL. And because I'm only certified in ESL, I couldn't get a lot of jobs. There's just not a lot out there as far as virtual teaching goes, unless you're going to teach for the Chinese companies. So I started my own tutoring business. And I did that for about 2 years, and it just didn't work out. I had trouble getting students. I struggled to keep the students that I did get just because of money. They always, it's pricey when you have your own students, and I lived in rural Kentucky, so I couldn't get a lot of local students, and I did teach online. So I'm not sure if it was the price or the online, but we weren't feeling it. So when I lost all my students last June, I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? Because I needed to make money, and I knew that I didn't want to go back to a regular job. My daughter stays home with me through the day until she goes to school, and she only goes for 3 hours. So I needed something to do. Can't afford daycare. And it was recommended to me by some other tutors who knew me to become a virtual assistant because they knew that I really liked running my social media. They knew that I liked doing the back end kind of things and that I was good at it. So I tried it, and it turned out to be great for me. I really loved it, and it fits my schedule better. There are a lot of things about teaching that I loved, but there are also a lot of things that I hated. And I was able to find something that really worked for me, and it's been going really great. So it's been the right choice.
Yes, and it's great when those passions, the things that we love, the things that we're good at, actually bring in income. So win-win-win there. And you have stepped into this world of virtual assistants. And so a lot of people have kind of said, but what do they do? Who are they? Why would they help a teacherpreneur? And so if you don't mind, could you give us a little broad definition of what a VA is, who they are, what they might be able to help with?
So a virtual assistant is someone who takes on tasks that you don't want to do or that you can't do anymore. For whatever reason, whether you just don't know how to do it, whether you don't like it, whether you just don't have the time to do it, anything. And then virtual assistant abilities range from very basic, being able to manage your calendar and your email, to running your social media, and even almost being like a business partner, borderline project manager. And it really just depends on what virtual assistant you get and what you pay for. You're going to get different things, almost online business manager kind of role with the project manager. But a virtual assistant can do a little bit of everything, and they can help teacherpreneurs and online teachers with pretty much anything.
Yeah. And we want to dive into, what that range can be, but as a former teacher and classroom teacher and online teacher and tutor, you know what we're going through. You've done this before. And so you kind of have a unique perspective on this. What do you see as the value for teacherpreneurs to have a VA in their life? What do you think is the biggest takeaway for them?
Yeah, so being a teacher is incredibly overwhelming, and especially if you're running your own business, you're not only still having to handle the reports and things like that you would normally do because you're still giving those to parents. You may not be giving them to admin anymore, but you're giving them to parents, but you're also trying to run a business. So a virtual assistant can help you run your business side of things so that you can focus on your students or focus on getting more students. And A virtual assistant can help you with your programs that you use. A virtual assistant can help you with your email. They can help you with your social media, all those kinds of things, and just kind of really taking off a lot of the pressure.
That's awesome. And there is a lot of pressure. I know throughout my journey so far, being a teacherpreneur, there's been moments where I'm like, I actually need to teach classes and I need to plan for this class I'm teaching tomorrow, but here I am creating a social media post. What? And so kind of figuring out the balance, but also what we can take off of our plate. And so when we kind of make that decision to say, I dislike doing this, or I don't have time for this, or I need to focus on something else, where could we look for a VA? Are there marketplaces or pages or avenues that we should look for a VA in, or what would be your suggestion in terms of how to find a VA?
So there are lots of different ways to find a virtual assistant. One way is to use Fiverr. I know that's a very popular avenue that people take, is to look on Fiverr for someone who can do what they need to have done. Actually didn't realize until recently how popular Fiverr is for finding people to do tasks for you. But that's out there, that option. And then there is also Upwork. I know a lot of people who use Upwork to get clients as virtual assistants. I know people who have used Upwork as, the tutor or the teacher who needs a virtual assistant. So that's an option as well. Then there are just the private virtual assistants who have their own businesses. You can find those on LinkedIn. That's more like me. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us on Instagram, on Facebook, because we're putting our stuff out there. And then there are also agencies. So you have an agency who you pay, and they will pair you with a virtual assistant who will work with you based on certain characteristics or certain needs and what their virtual assistants bring to the table. So some of those are Chatterboss or Peachtree virtual assistants, and then I know there's 100 Ninjas, and there's a few others out there.
Okay, but there's a wide range, and so I think something that I'm catching on to is that there are different avenues that different virtual assistants kind of fall into, and so finding someone. So as an online teacher, I would look for someone like you to understand what my business is about, what my clients are looking for, what my students are looking for, that sort of thing. And so having that kind of match up with your business, your industry, and your virtual assistant is really important. So I think those are really great options. And you mentioned searching on social media. Simple social media search would also yield some good results too. So that's awesome. Now, when we search, what can we expect to find in terms of costs and packages or payment levels?
That really is going to depend on what you're searching for. If you need something on the admin side, you're going to like admin, like calendar management and email management, and not email marketing, but email management, just checking your inbox and organizing it, that kind of thing. You're going to pay a lot less than if someone is doing more of your social media or helping you run your business on that side, or doing your finances, running your QuickBooks, or whatever you use as far as bookkeeping goes. The average range that I see for someone who has their own business, like someone who is typically in the United States or Canada, they typically run anywhere from $25 to $100 an hour. And then 25 being they don't do as much, 100 being like they can build your WordPress website. I certainly can't do that. I think the average is $55 an hour. My packages run from $35 to $45 an hour. So I think the average is $55 to $65 an hour for a more experienced VA who really knows what they're doing and who's been around for a while. And it really depends on what they offer. If you're looking for someone who is outside of the United States or Canada, I typically find that people are looking for someone in the Philippines because it's really cheap. They are anywhere from $3 to $10 an hour, with a average being $5 an hour. And I know people look for that a lot, especially if they're looking for just 1 or 2 tasks to be done and over with. Mm-hmm. And those are people you can find on Fiverr, and that tends to be a little cheaper.
Okay. And I imagine that the quality of work may range here. So we're talking about different tools that people have access to or are familiar with, workflows, time zones, that sort of thing. And so kind of figuring out what that relationship looks like Keeping in mind our security too. Again, these are accounts that are connected with our businesses. And I know when we had talked earlier, you told me that you take this really seriously. And so I think that's another step to take into account when you're choosing your VA. Would you trust this person with your accounts? Would you trust them with your business? That sort of thing. So a very important thing to keep in mind. Now, you've been working with a few clients, and so you've got some experience in terms of teacherpreneurs. I imagine the majority are teacherpreneurs or teachers. Can you tell me, how have you seen these services support those businesses?
Yeah, so with one client that I can think of in particular, she's very vocal about on social media and with me about how it helped her business. And she has a 5-hour a month package, and I do a lot with her social media and her email marketing, and just being able to not focus on that and instead focus on building her business and getting new clients, messaging people back, she has told me has exponentially increased her income. So that has been really great. It's paid for itself, more than paid for itself, to buy my 5-hour package. And I have another client who did not have a social media presence before I was working with her, and now she's on social media. People are resharing her posts on LinkedIn. She's getting leads from LinkedIn. Not so much on Instagram, but hey, we'll take it. And LinkedIn's where her audience is anyway, so it works out a little better. And then I have another client who didn't have a lead magnet set up, and I created a lead magnet for her and a nurture sequence. And now she has all that, and she's gotten some really great leads from it. And these are all of these clients are teachers or tutors. So it's been really great to be able to work with these people and see their businesses grow and evolve.
That's awesome. Wow. Well, it sounds like even a small investment, like 5 hours a month, can really help grow our business. And so when we're at the point in our business, and there are seasons in this teacherpreneur journey of I'm struggling, things are abundant, I don't know that I can do this anymore, we're ready to throw in the towel. There are different seasons, and when we're in those seasons of like, I don't know if I can keep going, this may be one of those things that keeps your business running. It may be one of those things that makes your business sustainable, so that then you can get to the next season and you can scale your business. And so hearing about these lead magnets and growing email lists and things like that, that's the type of thing that we're wanting to work toward. So I love hearing those kind of success stories. That's great. Well, if you are watching this later on, Sammy has offered a discovery call link. And if you end up using that, you are going to enjoy a discount with her. And so if you want to go ahead and use that to connect with her, I would encourage you to take that next step, see where this might help your teacherpreneur business, and get out there, see what a VA can do for you. I think that's a really great tool for us to take into account. So I would love to wrap up today's session with thanking They, who is the sponsor. They have made today's webinar possible, and they have offered a great resource in the communications and scheduling and meeting place and invoicing for teacherpreneurs. So it's a wonderful tool. If this is something that's interesting to you, I would encourage you to pull out your phone, point your camera at that QR code, and you are welcome to use that to get a $15 cash reward when you teach your first course. So I will leave that link also in the description box below. But apart from that, Sammy, thank you so much. Is there anything else you would add in terms of VAs or how they can help teachers?
Yeah, so just the biggest thing would be that before you choose someone to work with, you do your research and make sure that you are comfortable with that person is someone that you can trust, and to make sure that you've kind of looked into them, whether you check in their websites or looked at their testimonials or interviewed a few people, however you decide to do that, but that you don't just jump in with someone before checking it out.
That makes sense. There's almost like this interview process, this getting to know you process, make sure it's a good fit. All right. Well, Sammy, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Again, if you're looking for a VA, Sammy is a wonderful option. I hope that you'll check out that link below. And Sammy, thanks again.